First of all, I would like to use this early opportunity to pass our unconditional and permanent solidarity with the Palestinian people and confirm the correct line that the only way to achieve victory is only through resistance and no other way. In fact, the entities that have tried to negotiate with the Zionist regime led by Benjamin Netanyahu have been humiliated. In fact, the Palestinian Authority that opted to open negotiations, it's important to recognize that there is no negotiation with imperialism because the Zionist regime in Palestine is actually an extension of the United States imperialism. And the decline of the United States imperialism means victory to the Palestinian people. It's important also to bring out that the United States that continue to support the genocide in Gaza does not have foreign policies. They actually only have interests. So for them, it's about the interest of the ruling class in the United States and their Western allies. They do not have any principle or any Western moral system on the ruling class. Because look at in fact, it is beyond the genocide. We could even call it a Holocaust happening in Gaza. One, most importantly, is that the Benjamin Netanyahu regime, supported by the United States of America, will block any access to food and any necessities that can be taken to Gaza, and then use millions of shillings to organize a show of helicopters and these planes dropping, for only propaganda reasons. So it basically means that the interest is not just to deliver food, but to create and try to manufacture a different propaganda that even though we are supplying arms to the Israel apartheid regime, we still have some dignity that we can use their airspace to deliver food while they are blocking trucks from delivering the most important essential to the Palestinian people. This is the hypocrisy of the United States empire and the allies. And this is not something that is unique to them. I think the establishment of Israel in the west of Asia was not just an accident, but it was calculated to deny the residents of that west of Asia any peace and to allow external interference by mainly the ruling class, the dominant class in the Northern Hemisphere. So the collective punishment against the Palestinian people, the total bombardment, carpet bombing of the Gaza region is actually not a failure of policy, but is the only policy that the Zionist regime will think of as long as they still continue to be supported by the United States imperialism. The second point that I probably would like to make is that the people in the global south, particularly the African people, share the pain of the Palestinian people because we have a history with colonialism. We have a history with settler colonialism. And I can remember that during the fight against the apartheid border regime in South Africa, when Henry Kissinger visited Africa, and it was like that the most powerful army in South Africa can run Africa from Cape to Cairo. And they were having exchanges with some of the leaders in Africa that were supporting liberation movement, like Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. And it came out clearly that what the United States imperialism will want to tell the African people, that you cannot defeat such a lethal force that is being supported by high military hardware that we saw in South Africa at that time. The intensification of bombing of Gaza also want to manufacture, some consent and fear that the hopes of the Palestinian people cannot be achieved as long as the United States imperialism continues to support the Zionist Israel. But history has continued to debunk such propaganda of the ruling class. Remember, Collins Cooper mentioned about the struggle of the East Timor that I read in my younger days. And it was like the East Timor people were totally going to be annihilated. But now history has absorbed that through resistance, even the most powerful army can be defeated if the people, the oppressed people, that have nothing to lose, like the Palestinian people, together with the international solidarity that has continued to, to build up. Remember, the Zionist regime has continued to dominate the African media spaces by telling us that the war in Gaza, the war in Palestine is about Muslims and Christians. This is something that now have been severely been debunked because they're using Christian rhetoric to justify land theft. They're using Christian rhetoric to justify murder of innocent people. And they have the media at their disposal. Remember, the Zionist bloggers, the corporate media, call it the CNN, the BBC, every time they start to cover the conflict or the genocide, the way they frame the news is basically to accuse the people who have actually been slaughtered as the perpetrators of violence, and without differentiating the violence of the oppressed people and the violence of the oppressor. These are two different people. In fact, the Palestinian people has all the rights to use any means available to them to defeat Zionist, Zionist settler colonialism. On the issue of the two-state solution, this was a mirage. It was a false dream that was being chased by some people who thought that Zionism, supported by the United States imperialism, can be negotiated with. The truth of the matter is that the chances of a two-state solutions have been destroyed by the very proponents that were calling out a two-state solution. So the only way to advance peace is that to advance peace in the West of Asia is actually to intensify our offensive against the declining empire, the United States empire and United States imperialism. Because in our own analysis, we think the weakest link of the United States imperialism is in Gaza now. And in the last several months, I think 8 months, we have continued, especially in Kenya's capital, we've continued to build. We have seen the numbers of people coming to join the Palestinian solidarity networks are huge, and they cut across all sections of the society. So this is important to know that the victory in Gaza is almost there, but in our analysis, we defend not just a one-state solution, but a one democratic state where the Arabs, the Blacks, all races, including the Jews, can live, can coexist together. On the influence of the Arab countries, we can see how horrible the United States imperialism has infected some of the Arab states. Even passing a resolution to put an embargo for, against the ongoing genocide in Gaza, they are reluctant to do it. They still continue to pump oil to feed this monster. So it's essential to understand that the issue around Palestine needs, a concerted solidarity against the United States dominance class and their Western allies. And it is our committed fight against not just Zionism, but its mother, which is the United States imperialism, backed by the Western, the Western allies. This is important for us. So I would like to contribute more to the seminar and also to give our African perspective on the global South. Thank you very much.